Blockbuster trade sending James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets to team up with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We now welcome former NBA champion Kendrick Perkins to the show. Stephen A., you're up here first, though. Hey, Perk, good to see you. Is Harden under the most pressure of any player this season?
No, I don't think he's under the most pressure. For me, it would be Kawhi Leonard. And the reason I feel that way, and I haven't jumped off that bandwagon, I've been consistent, and I know I'm standing alone. But Kawhi Leonard is the one that came to Los Angeles with the NBA title from Toronto and the NBA Finals MVP. That was fine. But the dude with the commercials and talking about L.A. is his town now with the king dangling from the crown dangling from his mirror and all of that stuff, basically putting LeBron on notice. It's a new day, and here I come. And then you have a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, and you disappear in a Game 7. You let them come back from a 3-1 deficit. He wasn't the only one. We know Paul George was too. I got that. But it's Kawhi Leonard that was that two-time champion. It's Kawhi Leonard that was that star. It was Kawhi Leonard that basically told the Clippers, you want any shot at me, you got to go and mortgage the farm to get me Paul George. Otherwise, I'm going to stay in this town and play for the other team, which is the Los Angeles Lakers, with LeBron and AD, which will ensure you'll never win again. So all of those things that happen, that's Kawhi Leonard. Excuse me, it's time to pay up. You showed up. You put those demands. They answered the bell. Now you got to answer the bell. This dude, by Max Kellerman, was considered the best player in the world. Number one. That's what Max was saying. Max was talking all of that, Kendrick. He said Kawhi is that dude. He's the one. I know the whoops and the oops ultimately came thereafter, but damn it, that was after a year saying he was the best in the world. And listen, you can say what you want about Harden. He's been on the radar. KD's back. He's on the radar. Kyrie's on the radar. We get all of that. Why does Kawhi Leonard get to fly under the radar? He is a superstar. He is one of the top 5 players in the world. I want to see him show up. And I desperately want to see him go against LeBron head up, straight up in the conference finals. That's my dream scenario, personally.
All right. Before I get to Kendrick Perkins, who tweeted some outrageous, blasphemous nonsense last night, let me deal with you first, Stephen A. That take would be correct if the Clippers just traded for James Harden. The Clippers didn't just trade for James Harden. The Clippers got Kawhi Leonard, who never had to chase rings, one in San Antonio, got traded to Toronto, one in Toronto, didn't do so well last year. I give it up. I tell it like I see it. But the bottom line is he insisted on Paul George. He got him. Paul George choked in the playoffs, as usual. They didn't just add an MVP to that mix. Who added the MVP? The Brooklyn Nets. James Harden is going to a team with KD and Kyrie. And everyone's focusing on, is there more pressure on Harden or Kyrie? And that's a trick question, because the answer is there's the most pressure on KD. KD went ring chasing in Golden State, and he chased it down. He joined a 73-win team. There's no way they could lose. But then he did something very bold and brave. He went out and said, I'm going to see if I can win it in Brooklyn, a team that's never really come close. Just me and Kyrie Irving. Let's see what we can do. Now they added James Harden. Now, KD, Harden, and Kyrie. I'm not saying KD's got to win the whole thing this year. They're not favored to do that, but you got to get to the finals. Because KD, as a physical package and the skills that he's built up, as Kendrick Perkins will tell you, KD, compare him to anyone who's ever lived. He's almost 7 feet tall. Compare him to Magic, Bird, Michael, Kobe, LeBron, physically in terms of his skills, his shooting. And by the way, nowadays, even his passing has gotten so much better. He became a great defender. KD is taking a back seat in those departments to no one, ever. He should be the best ever, right? But he's not. You know what KD hasn't shown he can do yet? Lead a group of guys to a championship who's not necessarily supposed to win, who just has a fighting chance. Didn't do it in OKC. Warriors, come on. He added a dude to a team that's already won a championship and won 73 games, an MVP. Of course they're going to win. No, this is something new. Why isn't there's Bird, there's Magic, I say Kobe, obviously, Jordan, LeBron, right? Those guys all did that as the alphas on teams, on various different kinds of that led them to the championship. KD's got to do that now. He ain't even got to win this year. He's got to get there this year. The most pressure is on KD.
You know what? I can't believe you, Max. I can't believe you. Well, I can believe you. But Stephen A., I can't believe you. All right? To come on here and both of you guys talk about two guys that are already champions, two guys that are already got two finals MVPs, and go sit up here and tell me that both of them are under the most pressure this year. No, James Harden is. First of all, Max, you not checking nothing, all right? Let's get that straight real quick. You not checking nothing. I ain't come on here for you to be talking about you go check me. You ain't checking nothing. James Harden is under the most pressure this year. He threw a hissy fit to get out of Houston, threw his teammates under the bus. I want out. I want this. I don't want to play here. And just didn't give Steve Silas a chance. And all this and that got his way. Now, you got your way. You done teamed up with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. You have zero excuses. You're the only one on this team without a ring. This is the reason that you wanted to leave Houston, right? Was to go get a championship. So the pressure is on you. You left a Houston organization that you built up for over the last 9 to 10 years in great fashion. Made them relevant again since the Elijah One days, in my opinion. And then you left what you built up, left a lot of money on the table. Matter of fact, a 2-year, $103 million contract extension. You left that on the table to say, you know what? I want out. I want out. You quit on your team in Houston. You quit on your coach in Houston to say, I want out. I want to go to Brooklyn and play with KD and Kyrie. You got your wish. The pressure is on James Harden to win. He is the only one that is over the age of 30, in my opinion, besides maybe Russell Westbrook and Paul George. But Paul George is not in that MVP conversation year in and year out that hasn't delivered a championship.
Let me ask you this question, Kendrick, real quickly. What would irritate or insult you more? James Harden not winning the title or someone being disrespectful to LeBron James?
What you mean?
In other words, somebody coming to LeBron James, I'm coming to take what you got. It's a new day. It's a new era. Your time has passed. My time is here. We're forgetting how Kawhi arrived in L.A., how he elected to paint himself upon arriving in L.A. I'm not negating your point about James Harden being under immense pressure. I get that. But we also got to look at the fact that, again, you're looking at Kyrie being there. You're hoping they'll get their stuff together. It's not even his team in Brooklyn. We know it's KD's team. Kawhi is the Clippers. Everything they've done is for Kawhi Leonard. Everything. And I'm just saying, here's the only point that I'll leave you with, Kendrick, and then I'll shut up. I want you to remember that when you say what you just said, while it has very valid points, you, and to a lesser degree, Max, essentially is letting Kawhi Leonard off the hook. Okay, LeBron and AD are going to end up in the finals. We ain't even really thinking about Kawhi Leonard. We don't expect them to win. The Lakers are the prohibitive favorites. Where's the accountability for Kawhi Leonard when it comes to delivering the goods in L.A.?
No, Stephen A., this is my bad, and let me correct myself, okay?
Okay.
Before James Harden forced his way out of Houston, we had this conversation before. And if you remember, I said that Kawhi Leonard is under the most pressure.
Okay.
We already had this conversation. But now, since James Harden did what he did, and now he's with the Brooklyn Nets, I have a change of heart. And now I feel like he's under the most pressure because he's the one without a ring.
All right. You're right, because I didn't recall you saying that about Kawhi. My bad.
Look, the difference is There's pressure to get to the conference finals for sure for Kawhi. But we just saw it last season. And though Kawhi choked in Game 7, that wasn't normal for him in the playoffs. He had a very good playoff series, an excellent one, until then. It was Paul George who choked. And have they done it? And that's what Paul George has done throughout his career in the playoffs. Have they added anyone that would change that? We were all talking about, what if they got Chris Paul? What if they got Rondo, right? They didn't get any of that stuff. No, they replaced Montrezl Harrell with Serge Ibaka. That's nice, but that's not the kind of addition that team needed to be considered the favorite.
What?
Let's be honest about this.
Max.
And you guys are saying Kawhi because he's the best player on the team. Hold on, time out. KD is the best player on a team that already had Kyrie and is adding James Harden. He has to get to the finals, guys. He got to get to the finals.
Max, you know what? You something else, because about a month ago, or maybe even less than that, you was just sitting up here arguing me down, telling me how Serge Ibaka was a huge upgrade from Montrezl Harrell. Now you sitting up here saying, "Oh, it's a nice."
It's a marginal upgrade. I didn't say huge. It's a marginal upgrade. And by the way, LeBron James got AD, right? AD, how did he play throughout the playoffs? Like an MVP. LeBron is with another MVP. Kawhi not with another MVP, let's be honest. But guess what? KD not only has Kyrie, who's been a killer in the playoffs, he's got another MVP, at least in the regular season. No one else has a big three like Brooklyn. You're going to tell me that the best player on that team, a guy who